أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين خاتم النبيين سيدنا مرسلين حبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا حسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، السلام عليك يا عون ومحمد بن عبد الله، السلام عليك يا إمام المهدي يا صاحب العصر والزمان. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
According to a narration by the fifth holy Imam, Imam Muhammad Baqir Salamullah alayh, he says that an angel was once passing by a house. Of course, the angel was not in the shape or form of an angel. Allah manifested that angel in the shape of a man, just as he did during the time of Prophet Lut. So this angel is passing by a house and he sees that a man is standing near the door. And the angel questions him and says, "Why are you standing here?" The man replies, he says, "This is the house of my brother and I wish to greet him." The angel replies and he says, "Is he your kith or your kin, your relative? Or do you need his help in any way, shape or form that you have come to pay him a visit?" And the man replies and he says, "The reality is not as you put it to be. Rather, we are just brothers in faith and I only wish to meet and greet him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." The angel replies and he says, "I am God's messenger towards you. He has sent you, Allah has sent you his greetings, and he has said, 'O my servant, you have paid me a visit and desired my pleasure, and so as a reward for upholding the rights and sanctity of religious brotherhood, I have made paradise compulsory for you and have distanced you from my fire and wrath.'" This was Allah's mercy. This is Allah's mercy. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that his mercy showers all of us who are here tonight. And with that I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. We know, and we have been speaking about it at the masjid for the past few nights, that the primary concept in the life of a Muslim is Tawheed. Oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when we look at the meaning of Tawheed, the layman says oneness. The lexical meaning in Arabic means unification or unity. That is the true meaning of Tawheed. And that is the first root of religion. When we become Muslims, we say, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah." When we say there is no God but Allah, we are negating any other God but one God. Just one. But you and I are no exception to this rule of Tawheed, of unification. In fact, we are bound by it as Muslims. Please recite a salawat. This is precisely what the community of Allah should be doing. Totally and utmost united in every aspect of our actions towards each other. That is true unity. That is what Allah desires for every human being on this earth. He says in the Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ فَاتَّقُونَ. Indeed, this community of yours is one community, and I am your Lord, so be wary of me. This ayah reflects the entire concept of being together in order to serve the betterment of our own community. But you know, today we seem to digress on a communal level. We seem to go backwards. We seem to turn our back against this one God. Because what separates us now is the differences in the community, the tribes, the nation, and the culture. How can then we call ourselves Muslims following the same tawheed that Allah has ordained upon us? In addition, the quality of human achievement today, you can imagine we are so advanced in today's world. Look outside of you. Every aspect of our lives has gone forward. Talk about it 200,000 years earlier, maybe, who knows? But look at today. We have advanced so ahead that we can do anything we so wish. We have even landed on the moon, where Allah says in the Holy Quran, you will not be able to pass through the heavens unless through my permission. But we have managed to reach the moon and beyond. But imagine achieving all of this that Allah has told us or given us permission to do so, achieving it without the goal of unification. What then have we truly gained? Our noble Prophet has said, O people, enjoined for you is the community. Enjoined. Amr bil ma'aruf, like was just mentioned. And what is forbidden for you is disunion or division. Let's move on to a higher level. The best man the previous century the world has ever seen, and we know who it was, none other than Ayatollah Khomeini. When he passed away, his son Ahmad said, if a person says, and this is what his father was saying to Ahmad, if a person says anything that causes division between Muslims, then know that that such person is either ignorant or he wants to create a division between the two. Imam wanted unity on all levels, unity on the international front, because the Imam believed that the world's oppressed people cannot come out of oppression if we are divided. It is impossible. He says that the world's oppressed should attempt to unite against the oppressors, unity of the followers of religions and prophets. He didn't only single out Islam, because the prophets all belong to Allah. He's even referring now to all religions, Christianity, Judaism, whatever it is, the unity must be there amongst all in order to rid of the taghut that we talked about 2-3 days back. This statement, there's a statement that Allah has made in a hadith al-Qudsi, and He says that I love a youth who turns towards me more than an elderly person. And I'm coming to the end now. I love a youth who turns towards me more than an elderly person. This does not mean that the deeds of an elderly person are not valued. No. The reason why Allah focuses on the youth is because it is harder for the youth to turn their face towards God with all the pressures they face in their life. It is more difficult for a youth, and you will all agree with me, than for an elderly person. Sister Natasha had mentioned that one of the brothers had talked about what she was going to talk about. And this next portion that I want to talk about is what she already mentioned. Revenge is not good. But you see, have you ever seen a youth, and I'm sure you have even on TV, who has fallen in love with his beloved? These youth, when they are young in their teenage years, 18, 19, today, thankfully, We have unlimited plans on our phones. We can speak with them all night, stay awake until one of us falls asleep. Not one of us, I'm not in love yet. But until one of us or one of them falls asleep, they will talk on the phone. Sometimes, when they don't speak to each other at night, they can't fall asleep. And when they do talk, or when they do text, this unlimited text messaging plans that we may have, the next day goes just better. We enjoy life, we love life. Why? Because I am in love. I am in love with somebody, and that person completes my life. If we cannot sleep without talking to someone who is created, and we are in love with that person who is created by God, how can we sleep if we were in love with the Creator? So the question is, are we in love with the Creator? Do we follow what He says? Do we do what He wants? And when I said it was harder for a youth to do what Allah wants, He wants us to love Him. And only when we love God can we love other people for the sake of Allah. But the difference between love at night on the phone is that that love is temporary. It will not last for long. It will only last until death do us apart. But when we love someone who is eternal, whatever or whomever we love because of Him also lasts for eternity. And that love we have for our brothers for the sake of Allah, whoever that brother is or sister, it is, if it is for the sake of Allah, it lasts beyond all boundaries of this world and the next world. Can we not then remove the veils of tribe, nationality, creed, color, and base our life on Tawheed, which is the primary root of all Muslims? We can. We spoke about companions today. We spoke about companions. All those who gave up their life for Imam Hussein with the true love that they had. And Abu Abdullah al-Hussein had the true love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of them achieved martyrdom and achieved paradise. But I do not want to talk about the companions who had reached the point of maturity. No. I do not want to talk about them. Tonight, the 6th night of Muharram, I want to pay tribute to a lady who was known as the jewel of her father, as was said earlier today. I want to pay tribute to Lady Zainab, the sister of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And how will I pay tribute to her? Is when on the day of Ashur, her children kept on asking Imam al-Hussein, can we go and fight? Everybody else has gone. All your companions have gone. Can we go and fight now? Ali Akbar had gone. These children were so small. They were 9 and 11, according to some historical narrations. And Imam al-Hussein kept on saying, no, I cannot allow you to go. And in some he said, go ask your mother. Lady Zainab comes to Imam al-Hussein and says, my brother Hussein, my entire life I have never asked you for any favor, never. But tonight I'm asking you for one favor, the only favor I will ever ask you before you meet our mother. What is that favor? I ask you to please allow my children to go and sacrifice their lives in the way of Allah. Give me that honor. Which mother is able to say it so boldly to the Imam of the time? And Aun and Muhammad were so excited when their uncle said, yes, you may go. They were so small that the swords they were carrying was dragging on the sands of Karbala. That's how they were. That's how small and young they were. And these two young men, they made a pact with each other Look at the unity they had amongst themselves. They made a pact. They said to each other, let us not separate from each other when we go into the battlefield. And when they went, it is said they managed to kill a few people. When the enemy decided because they are together, it is difficult to get rid of them. They are after all from the lineage of Abu Talib. So they tried to separate the two, and they managed. And as they separated the two, these young men would call out each other's names to ensure that one was alive. When one of the enemies comes and he goes and takes a sword and he strikes it on the head of Aun. When Muhammad is calling out for his brother, Aun does not respond because Aun has fallen down. At this time it is said that Aun himself, Muhammad himself, loses the strength. Someone comes behind him also, takes a sword and hits him on the head as well. As they fall out, they call out towards their uncle, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Imam al-Hussein was waiting for this call for these two young children, and he rushes out to the battlefield. He reaches Muhammad, the young one, and Muhammad says, oh my uncle, I am beyond any help, but why don't you go to my elder brother, because he fell down before me. See if there's anything you can do for him. When Imam al-Hussein goes towards Aun, it is said that Aun had passed away. And there was nothing the Imam could do. When he came back to Muhammad, Muhammad had also given up his life. He calls Abbas ibn Ali to take the two bodies back into the tents. When Zainab bint Ali looks at the two bodies, she does not cry. She goes into sujood and she says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, thank you for accepting my sacrifice. This is what a woman was able to say. But the only time Zainab bint Ali cried is when she went back to Medina. She went back into her house. When she opened the doors of her two young children, she saw the empty beds and she started weeping and crying. Then, Aun and Muhammad, what has happened to you? على لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Let us pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we achieve the same type of sacrifice even in our daily lives as did the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and that He instills the love and compassion between each other so that we may attain the same path, the only path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the path of Tawheed. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.